Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Martha from Martha Is. Today's video is my mid-month June wrap-up, so I am reviewing all of the books that I have read in the first half of June. So let's start with the ones that I have DNFed, so did not finish. Just get them out of the way. So the first one that I decided to give up on was Feminist Fairytales. So I have a subscription box called Heady that I subscribe to, and they send you every other month a package of 3 books. So there's 2 kind of full-length novels or non-fiction or whatever, and then 1 is a curated collection which is in line with the theme for the box. So this one I think was from December last year. You can tell I really keep up with reading my subscription books. And yeah, the whole theme of the box was Feminist Fairytales, and I just really didn't love this. So it seems to swing between short stories and really academic short academic articles about fairy tales, so kind of, I guess, analysing how women are presented in fairy tales. And in theory I am really interested in that kind of thing. But I found that the academic articles just they required more concentration, as they would, but then for me didn't actually go deep enough. So it's kind of like, if I'm going to prepare myself to really concentrate on this, intellectual analysis of how women are presented in fairy tales, again, something which I would be super interested in, and then it just didn't quite kind of deliver for me. And then the short stories, the few that I read, just also, I don't know, they just didn't speak to me. Sometimes things just don't work for you. So this one, unfortunately, just didn't work for me. So there's that one. And then the second one that I DNF probably will not come as any surprise to anyone, which is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So I was gifted this by my dad last month as part of the Pages for Periods readathon, where I asked people to... One of the ways in which I fundraised was asking people to sponsor my next read, and my dad sponsored my next 3 reads and sent me 3 books, one of which was this one. And yeah, it just really is not my type of book at all. I gave it 100 pages. I was genuinely trying, because I felt bad, because my dad had got it for me and he'd sponsored me to read it. But I could not get on with it. I couldn't make sense of it, and the names were so similar, or just the same name. So you have like a family tree at the start, and it's Jose Arcadio Buendia, and then his son Aureliano, his son Jose Arcadio, and then Jose Arcadio has a son called Jose Arcadio, and Aureliano has a son called Aureliano, and you're like, can you please just vary the names a bit, because I'm super confused. And it was just like some dodgy shit like that. So one of the sons, and I don't know how old he was, but like at least late teens, if not full adulthood, got like totally enamored with his dad's enemy's daughter, who was 9, and he was feeling things, and she was 9, and then he asked for her hand in marriage, and even the dad was like, do you want to maybe take one of my older daughters? Not the one who still wets the bed? So, and then it seemed like it was okay, because they basically waited until she started her periods before they got married, and she seemed to be really into it. And I was like, no, sorry, it's not for me. So, yeah, sorry, no. And my dad was very understanding. He's only got about 50, 60 pages in. But because he also got me the other 2 books, I will give those a go, and hopefully with a bit more success. So then we have the ones that I did actually properly read. So the first one is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So I actually started this last month on my Kindle. So I tend to, if I can't sleep, I've got a Kindle which is backlit, so I will start a book. But what that means then is that then I might be working on that book for ages. So I think it took me about a month to read it, but I finished it in the first week of June. And so 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is about a woman called Evelyn Hugo, and she's kind of like this big sort of iconic celebrity, and she's in her old age, and she requests a woman called Monique to come and write her biography. And this is going to be some massive coup because she's a very kind of enigmatic icon. So people don't really know who she is other than the fact that she's had 7 husbands. And so the book is essentially her telling her life story to this woman called Monique, and it's segmented by each husband and how she kind of got there. I don't really want to say much more than that, because I think you have to really, because I went into it thinking it was one thing and then finding out actually it was something totally different. So I actually did quite enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it as much as Daisy Jones and the Six, which is Taylor Jenkins Reid's most recent novel. But yeah, it was quite good, and it really sort of hooked me in towards the end, and gave me some things to think about. So yeah, I think I gave that 4 stars. The next one I read was Out of Love by Hazel Hayes. So this was very kindly gifted to me by Unbound, and it was published on the 11th of June. So this is a really interesting novel. It's basically a love story told in reverse. So you start at the end, for want of a better phrase, and the couple have broken up, and not in quite acrimoniously. And then each chapter jumps you back a bit in their love story until the end of the book, which is the very first kind of time that they meet and kiss and etc. So it's so interesting. I was thinking, like, how is this going to work? Because you've just removed all of the hope, because you know that they break up. So like, what is there going to be to say? Because like, yeah, okay, you could find out like why they broke up and stuff like that, but then ultimately they broke up, and that's kind of depressing. But actually it was really compelling, because even though, so you jump back, you know, a bit each time, and obviously as further you go back, there's almost like more hope. You know, they're happier as a couple, there's more hope about how it might work out and stuff like that. And despite me knowing that they were going to break up, I still felt this kind of like swell of, oh, you know, this is nice, this is them, you know, in a romance, this is where might this lead, even though I knew where it was going to lead, which was really took me by surprise. And actually it's so much more than a romance. There's a lot in here around mental health, which is really which I thought was done quite well. And it's about mental health, but it's also about family, and how our family and where we have come from can influence our relationships, and the things that you can figure out, things that you can get past, and the things that you can't. So yeah, this really did take me by surprise. And I would recommend it. I think I gave it 3.5 stars, and I had to knock a half star off just because one of the later chapters there's a moment where the author seems to like literally spell out kind of the point of the novel in a way that it was almost like breaking the fourth wall type thing, the way it was just like the character, because it's all told from first person perspective, it was like the character suddenly like was aware of things that, yeah, I don't know, it jarred for me. It didn't work, and I'm much more of a show me don't tell me type person. So so that was the only reason why it's 3.5 stars, not 4. But I would recommend it. It was very good. And thank you very much to Unbound for sending that to me. Next one is a graphic novel by Lucy Knisley called Stepping Stones. This was very kindly gifted to me by my friend Emily, which was a lovely surprise. This, I think, is Lucy Knisley's first fictional graphic novel. So she's done a lot of non-fiction around food, and her getting married and having a baby. So the only one I've read of hers is Something New, which was about her getting engaged and getting married. And I really love her art, and I love her kind of the personality that she puts into her work. And this one is fiction, but it is based on her life, her like growing up. So this is about a girl called Jen, whose parents have divorced, and her mum's basically moved out away from the city to a farm, to live on a farm and run a farm, and with a new man. I don't know if it's like a boyfriend, or I don't think they got married. And Jen, the young girl, she hates it. You know, she hates the fact that her parents are divorced. She doesn't want to be living on this farm. She doesn't want to be working on this farm, because they've like put her to work literally immediately, to the point where I was like, this just feels a little bit like child labour. Like, I know that if you're in a family and you're on a farm, you would all help out. But the way she was just kind of thrown into the situation, and then they were just like, now, by the way, your job is going to be cleaning out the chicken coop or whatever. I was like, you're not really trying to help her bed into this, are you? But anyway, so, and then the boyfriend has two daughters who come and stay on the weekend. So it's going, Jen being an only child, and I guess basically getting stepsisters, and how that goes and how they get along. And yeah, so I read it really quickly. It's a graphic novel. I enjoyed the personality. I enjoyed the message, you know, in terms of how they learn to get along, and you know, having these sisters that you've kind of, that you know, you weren't born with, you weren't grew up with, but you actually learned to love them anyway. The thing that really I didn't like, that really kind of was just a bit too far for me, was Walter, the boyfriend, who, he was actually really horrible to the main character, Jen. And like the mother a little bit dealt with it, but not really at all. And there was a lot of like, both from the mother and both from the stepsisters being like, oh yeah, that's just what he's like. And it's like, yeah, he's being an absolute knob. Like, her name is Jen, and she likes to be called Jen, and he would just keep calling her Jenny, and she would keep saying, no, my name is Jen, and he'd just be like, why are you getting so hurt up? And it's like, I don't think it's unreasonable to call your girlfriend's daughter by the name that she wants to be known by. But anyway, that's just me. I just thought it was a bit, And then to find out that it was based on a true story, I was also like, okay, that's not a very good reflection of your stepdad, but okay. Yeah, but I would recommend it. It is, yeah, it is good, despite Walter being a knob. It is very good. And then the final one, which I literally finished this morning, was Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe. That is quite a mouthful. So this is a YA LGBTQ story about two boys, Aristotle, or Ari, and Dante. So Aristotle it's all from his point of view. He doesn't really have any friends. He's got 3 siblings, but they're much older. So twin sisters who, you know, much older, have already like left home, have kids. And the brother who is in prison, and the parents just do not talk to him about the brother at all. Like, there's no pictures, you just don't mention his name. And so he's lonely, and he meets Dante at a swimming pool, and they become friends, and it's basically a coming of age story, and it's just about like their friendship, and whether or not that might become something more than friendship. And yeah, and just finding out who you are, and that really difficult time of being a teenager and kind of being like angry for no reason and hating your parents but also loving your parents, and that whole thing. And I really liked it. It was really warm and really sweet. It took me a little while to get into, but by the end of it, yeah, it was just really sweet. Yes, so I liked that very much. This is actually one of my 30 at 30. So last year I turned 30, and I came up with this list of 30 books I wanted to read before I turned 30. And then I was like, yeah, definitely not going to finish it by the time I'm 30. So I gave myself to the whole of last year to do it, and then still haven't finished it. So we're just running into this year, and you know what? It's not long till I turn 31. So this is basically, I'm just going to be doing my 30 at 30 for, I don't know, until I'm 40, maybe. But this is one of my 30 at 30, and I think this was one of the good ones. Yeah. So that's it. I feel a bit weird because that's only 4 books that I've actually... No, 5. No, yes, there is a 5th one. It's like, I can't count this because there's a 5th one. That's why I knew there was 5. The 5th one is Africa, Amazing Africa. I read this literally on the first day of June. I flipping loved this book. So I bought this from Back to Books, Brown, one of my favourite booksellers who you would have heard me wax lyrical about. Would never have come across this otherwise. This is a picture book for kids where it literally takes every single country in Africa and has like illustrations and facts about each one. So, where's the one that I want to find? And because the thing that I just absolutely loved about this is I genuinely learnt so much. Like, who says kids' books are just for kids? Like, so, like, this is Mali. And you know what blows my mind about Mali, which I think is going to be really lame? For centuries, the city of Timbuktu was an important place of learning where Islam, medicine, surgery, science, maths, astronomy, literature and art were once studied. Its library still holds some of the world's most ancient manuscripts. So you know how Timbuktu has basically become synonymous as this like fake place really far away. Like, oh, whatever, you know, we'll send you off to Timbuktu. I knew it was a real place, don't get me wrong, but I didn't know where it was. It's in Mali. There you go. And also I learned that, like, Africa, I mean, again, I knew Africa was big, but Africa is the size of Europe, the USA, Mexico, India, and Japan all together. So, I mean, guys, you're never too young to learn. This is amazing. So, I would highly, highly recommend this one. I think this might be my favourite book of the month. So there we go. God, lucky I remembered that one, isn't it? Anyway, that's it. I feel weird because I read so many books because of Pages of a Period. So this doesn't really feel like very many, but it's perfectly normal. I hope you're all having a good month, June, so far. Let me know what you've been reading. Let me know if you've read any of these. Let me know if you persevered with Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Like, how did you reconcile the weird child bride situation with it apparently winning the Nobel Prize and being one of the best novels of our time? I'd be really interested to understand that. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you again soon for another video. Bye!